Thank you. Please be seated. Balozi wetu, waziri, PS, and the great people from our republic. Good evening. Wakenya hoi. Wakenya hoi. God is good. All the time. And all the time. God is good. Thank you very much. We are very pleased to have this conversation with our people. I really want to thank you for creating time to come and meet with us, share a meal and have a conversation. We don't take it for granted. It was a very short notice. You are all very busy people in your own right, and getting time to come and listen to us and have a conversation with us is indeed a very great honor. First and foremost, I want to bring you greetings and warm regards from our leader, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. He has asked me to pass his love and his greetings. He was supposed to come for the summit on food systems transformation, but because of exigencies of duty, he delegated that function to me. And as it were, he directed me, like he does anytime he sends me out of the country, to make sure that despite how tight the schedule is, I create time to have an engagement with our people. The reason why we try all the time, whenever we travel out of the country, to meet our people, is because that's what our whole leadership is all about. It's about the people of Kenya. We think Kenya, we sleep Kenya. Our whole life and chemistry is around the Kenyan people. And we are elected by the people. So it's really about the people of Kenya. So even as I've come here to Rome to meet the world, to talk about food systems, transformation in matters financing, my only interest in the conference that I've attended today and tomorrow and the day after is about Kenya and the Kenyan people. So it wouldn't make sense to meet foreigners and other people to push Kenya's interest when you have not met the people of Kenya whom you are working for. I want to say thank you very much to our ambassador and her team for the warm welcome. The team has really taken very good care of us. And if that is the way the ambassador takes care of you, then I think you are good people. We have had a very nice time, and despite a very heavy schedule, she has really, with her team, made us feel very comfortable and very welcome. And our engagements today have been well planned, well thought out, and they have been seamless. I'm here in Rome to represent President William Ruto to discuss with the world about food systems transformation. You know, our country, our economy is driven 80% by agriculture. And you know how important food is to all of us. Why you are out here in Italy working, first and foremost, is to put food on the table. Other things follow. Am I right? So we are talking about food. And in our country, we have a very serious challenge because of the negative effects of climate change. We have just come out of a very serious drought, the worst in 40 years, after 5 failed consecutive seasons. We had a serious food deficit. We could not get maize. Our Minister for Agriculture went to Zambia, got nothing. He went to Tanzania, got nothing. Went to South Africa, got nothing. Maize was available in Brazil. But the cost of transporting from Brazil, by the time it gets to Kenya, it will be very expensive. And on assuming office, President William Ruto made the very deliberate and wise decision to focus on food production. Because a nation that cannot feed its people, the leadership of that country cannot walk proudly anywhere. By the time we came into office, the cost of fertilizer, 50 kg bag, was 7,000. And the previous administration had refused to subsidize inputs for farmers. And that is why by the time we came in, we did not have a single bag of maize in the National Strategic Reserve. So the president made a pragmatic decision to put 15 billion Kenya shillings for a program to subsidize fertilizer, and the cost came from 7,000 shillings to 3,500. And we created a system, e-voucher, where there was nobody coming in between the fertilizer and the farmers. It was all digital, and every farmer who cared got several bags of fertilizer. Then it happened that God was merciful to the country. We got very good rains. As we speak here today, we are expecting a bumper harvest that has not been seen in Kenya in the last 20 years. In fact, our challenge is storage and drying. The people at the meteorological department have told us that we are expecting El Nino, and we are therefore developing capacity to dry maize, and we also purchase from the farmers at a good price enough stocks for our National Strategic Reserve, so that never again shall our minister move around the world with a begging bowl. So I want to tell you from back home, if you call, there are many challenges, financial and all. But in terms of food, Kenyans are okay. There are enough vegetables, there are potatoes, there is everything. There is green maize now, and we have sufficient food. And that's what brings us here. And I made a presentation that we in Kenya have made a decision to spend money on food production so that our country can be food secure and get surplus to export. And that was a conversation that was in that summit today. And we have also come up with financial inclusion with a 10 billion hustler fund to enable the majority of Kenyans at the bottom of the pyramid to access cheap credit to be able to engage in farming. And as I speak, every Kenyan can access some credit cheaply, and once they pay, they keep on borrowing. And so far, we have lent, I think, 28 billion Kenya shillings to the people of Kenya through the Hustler Fund, and they are paying. And as I listen today to the UN Secretary General, I listen to the Prime Minister of Italy, I listen to world leaders. Everybody is talking about transformation of financing the food systems. And I echoed the words of my boss, my president in Paris, that the international financing model is not favorable to the African continent. And we need to redefine and to review the international financing architecture. As it is parasitic. It's a parasitic relationship. And the African continent is at the mercy of the developed world. And that conversation we must continue so that we can get some equity, some equality, some fairness in matters financing. So I was able to make that presentation on behalf of the people of Kenya, on behalf of the President, and we shall continue to do so. When we were seeking political office, President William Ruto had economic forums to listen to the people of Kenya, to tell him what is it they would like to be done for them if he ascends to the high office. One of the economic blocks was the diaspora. And in the countries that he traveled, the people living out there say they would want a dedicated ministry to deal with the matters diaspora. And that is why, on being elected, the President created the State Department of Diaspora Affairs under the larger Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And this ministry is not just to address your concerns. The concerns that have been raised with me here since I came yesterday about consular services, about what the student has raised, you want some reasonable accommodation and all that. That is why that department has been set up. But most importantly, the diaspora people are critical in our economic development. Why do I say so? Long time ago, coffee was #1 foreign exchange earner for the country, followed by tea. Then it was overtaken by tourism. As we speak today, the remittances to Kenya from the diaspora bloc is #1 foreign exchange earner for Kenya. Ahead of tourism, ahead of tea, ahead of coffee. So, as I look at you here, I see money for my country. I see hard currency. And that is why we want a conversation. Because you people are not going to live here forever. You will not live here forever. This place is good. Even looking at you, you look nice, you look beautiful, you look okay. But east or west, home is best. Through the State Department of Diaspora, we want a conversation on how government can guarantee investments back home for people in the diaspora. We are all aware of most of you have been conned money by friends and by relatives. You send money to your brother to build your house. They take photographs of the neighbor, they keep on sending. The day you come home, you have no home, and there is nothing you can do because that is your brother. Is that not the case? So we want to create a diaspora fund guaranteed by the government, similar to treasury bonds and treasury bills, where the people of diaspora can invest back home and you earn interest and good interest, so that as you come home, your savings are intact. We want to create a mechanism of how government can guarantee property developers who can develop properties for the people in the diaspora without being conned and in a transparent and a forthright manner. That conversation is ongoing. We want to interest the people of diaspora on affordable housing. The government has a very serious program to put up 200,000 houses every year. And that is 1 million houses in our term. We want the people in the diaspora with their earnings to take mortgage on affordable housing in a project guaranteed by government to buy yourself a home, so that when you do retire and come back home, you don't have to deal with the landlords. You go to your own home. So that program is ongoing, and we gave that job to Rosary Njogu, who is diaspora. Her accent tells you that we got her from the diaspora. See, if I'm the one who was appointed PS diaspora, he would reject me. Because me, I'm a village guy. So, and it's getting on well. The student who spoke here said that you want us to get you jobs back home. No, I'm a truthful man. I'm a truthful man. We have 6 million young people at home who have no jobs. As we speak, the president has given Roslyn a deadline, together with the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, to get us 1 million jobs out here, so that those characters can come here. So please, my dear student, don't have any idea to come back home. Tafadhali na kuomba, wacha tukae na shida yetu pale. Usikuje kutuongeza hiyo shida. So let's look for opportunities here. Let's look for opportunities here. We already want to bring 1 million from home to join you and elsewhere. Ama unataka nimundanganya iko kazi? Si ni mzuri kusema ukweli. And I can tell you, we are going to succeed. The reason why, I came yesterday with the Emirates, and in the cabin crew of about 10 people, 4 were Kenyans. If you go to Dubai, in every hotel there are 2 or 3 Kenyans. Reason? Kenyans have got good work ethics. Our people are hardworking, they are honest, and they are true to what they believe in, and they have commitment. So, Roslyn and team have a very easy job to market Kenyans and get them jobs abroad. The Kenyans have already marketed themselves. What we need is to tighten the MOUs so that our people are not mistreated, so that they are not dealt with in a prejudicial manner, by having a G-to-G arrangement, government to government. Already in Germany, they told us they have a shortage of 200,000 people. And before the Chancellor finished what he was saying, we had already started conversing with Akina Roslyn that we should work very quickly to fill even half of those spaces. So we are working on that program, and I can tell you will succeed because of the nature of the Kenyan people and their work ethics. I want to confirm what you have said here today. I had lunch with the Prime Minister of Italy, and she told me they have not received a single complaint in this country of a Kenyan misbehaving. So you should have seen a smile on my face. I felt good that a Prime Minister of a developed country has such good words to talk about the people of Kenya. I want to thank you for your patriotism. I want to thank you for being good ambassadors for our country. And you could see in that table, we were 5 countries. There was, when she said that, there was respect for our country, for our motherland. That our Prime Minister takes time to confirm that Kenyans living in this country are honest people, they are people of integrity, they are law-abiding, and they don't give them any trouble. So I want to encourage you to proceed with that. I just wanted to say that Back home, we are okay. We are good. One, President William Ruto has come up with a bottom-up economic transformation agenda. What that economic model means, in very simple terms, is putting money at the bottom of the pyramid where the majority of Kenyans are. And I don't know whether you heard me on the day of inauguration. If you watched the TV, I had a very strong speech about the country we inherited. The truth of the matter is that by the time we arrived in government, the coffers were empty. There was nothing. And we have started from scratch. And I want to start before you today proudly to tell you that the economy has started showing signs of improvement. And PS National Treasury is here. As we speak today, for the first time in 7 years, at the closure of the financial year on June 30th, we had disbursed total entitlement to the 47 county governments. We don't have a debt. As we close the financial year on June 30th, we had disbursed 44 billion to the members of parliament for the CDF. And when we came into office, we found we had a debt of 9.6 trillion. And Kenya was almost being auctioned. And the president made a decision. Very simple reasoning. We found ourselves in a hole. And he said, when you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you do is stop digging further and figure out how to get out. So we stopped borrowing, especially domestic borrowing. And what was happening is that the government was borrowing at 14-15% because of state capture and conflict of interest. The very people who are in government borrowing, they owned the banks that the government was borrowing from. So you can imagine there was no even negotiation on the interest rate because the decision makers are making profit out of government. Progressively, the economy is showing signs of revival, and that is shown by the fact that we have also honored our debt disbursement, our portfolio. All the loans that are due, we have paid. Because much as we are having problems, you must honor international obligations. Waswahili wanasema, dawa ya deni ni nini? Kulipa. We have paid. And with this expected bumper harvest, in another 24 months, the signs of the economic improvement will be felt by the people of Kenya. Of course, we have a few challenges that the people we defeated are still in denial. They have refused to move on. I don't know why. Because what happens if things don't work out, you just move on and start life afresh. And when we brought the finance bill, which was enacted by Parliament and it became the Finance Act, they decided to go to the streets, using that as an excuse. But I want to tell you that is not the reason. Because the leader of opposition was in government through the handshake. The price of 2 kg unga was 230 shillings. He never called for demonstrations then. We have succeeded in bringing the price of unga from 230 to 170 through production, by subsidizing production as opposed to consumption. He is calling for demonstrations, but that is not the reason. The reason is in his history. Every election, he has used violence to be allowed to come into government. If you remember, In 1997, when he lost elections, he started demonstrations, and President Moi, the late, brought him into government as Minister for Energy through cooperation. In the year 2007, again, he lost to Mwai Kibaki. There were chaos, there were deaths. He was brought into government through the Nusu Mkate arrangement. Again in 2017, he lost elections. He brought violence. He sowed fear to Uhuru Kenyatta. And Uhuru Kenyatta, because he's a Serelak baby, he brought fear. Allowed him into government. You know what happened? The Jubilee agenda was put aside, and that is how we have a debt of 9.6 trillion. He is trying to sell fear to us so that he can come into government through another handshake. I want to tell you here today that that is not possible, because that is giving into blackmail. If you read the penal code, Cap 63, blackmail is an offense. It is a crime. So sitting with somebody who is blackmailing you is partaking the crime. So those church leaders who are telling us to sit with that man so that he can cool down are asking us to commit a crime. President William and I are not willing to commit a crime. So there will be no handshake. There will be no arrangement. We ask him to take his rightful role as a leader of opposition and hold us to account and oversight us and criticize us for good governance, because that is what the Constitution provides. And that is why we had allowed these demonstrations to go on, because the Constitution allows the right to picket, to demonstrate, and all that. But Article 37 says those demonstrations must be peaceful and the participants must be unarmed. What we have seen is violence, is chaos, and the country was almost burning. So we made a decision that that character has never done a peaceful demonstration. And any demonstration he does will end up in chaos and violence. So we have said it will not happen. And in those 3 days, that matter was dealt with conclusively. They had called for one for Wednesday. I have told they have been postponed. They have postponed. There is no postponement. You cannot postpone something that will not happen. It's just trying to please his supporters. So I want to assure you that there is no political problem in Kenya at all. The people on the 9th of August made a decision, and the will of the people prevailed. The losers went to the Supreme Court as per the Constitution, and they were told they have no case. And they moved on, they didn't have a problem. They only came to say there is a problem 6 months later. Somebody cannot steal your cow and you find it is not there and you are okay. Then 6 months later you say your cow has been stolen. It is not possible. So I want to assure you that Kenya is stable, Kenya is secure, the government is in full control, and the matter of those demonstrations have been brought to a closure. It will not happen again, and we want to appeal to everybody to go back to work. And I want to say in all fairness, I think it is wrong for you to ask other people's children to go and fight the police in the streets and get killed, when your own children, you have sent them to the East African Legislative Assembly to go and legislate. Because you can, what you do, if you think this thing is good and real, let your children be in the forefront. But you cannot use the children of poor people to throw stones, to fight policemen, to loot, to destroy property, to get killed, to get harmed, yet your own children are not there. And in all fairness, I've had Others saying that their work now is to protect their family and their children. And it is good. Everybody should protect his family and his children. But who will protect the children of the poor people? That is what the president must do. He must protect the millions of children whose fathers and mothers have no capacity to protect them. He must protect them. Because then they have no money to buy guns. If you can buy guns for your children to protect themselves, that's okay. But what about those parents who cannot afford to buy guns to protect their children? The government must use the guns that they have to protect those children. And that is what is happening. So that we live in a society where there is equality. And everybody has a chance to make a decent living. And everybody must be given a chance. Whether you are rich, whether you are poor, everybody given a chance can be somebody someday. Even yourselves here, you are from all different backgrounds. But you are here in Rome today, in Europe, having a nice time. Because there is a God in heaven. And everybody given a chance can bring him or herself here to Rome. All we need to do is create a good environment for the people of Kenya to prevail. And people, when they work hard, they pray to God, they will definitely succeed. So I don't want to go beyond there. Our government is bottom up. The leader spoke, but they didn't tell us their problems. Probably because they were asked by the ambassador to speak. They don't want to say anything that can be a bit uncomfortable. But I'm here now. So you are in no danger. I want now we open the floor to the ordinary people. Those who are the officials speaking here, they have spoken very well. Because I'm here, I would like to know what challenges you have. Is that not right? And you speak, we give several people to tell us if there is something you think the embassy can do to make life much better. If you think there is something our government in Nairobi can do to make life much better, it is good you tell us because we are here. And since I don't come here every day, take advantage that I'm here and tell us. And tell us what is it you think our mission here in Rome can do to make your life better? What is it that you think we can do in Nairobi to make your life better? Are you having some challenges that you think the government can intervene and solve them for you? Because if I don't do that, this engagement would not be meaningful. Because I also need to hear all the good things you tell us so that we continue doing them. Where you think we need to do things differently, you tell us so that we are able to make those changes. With those very many remarks, let me introduce my delegation. This is Ezekiel Machogu. He is our minister, our cabinet secretary for education. He was my boss, now I'm his boss. That's the way life works. He was a district commissioner in Nyandarua when I was a DO. I used to salute him, now he salutes me. Hiyo ndio mambo ya Mungu inaendaka namna hiyo. We have our governor, Bwana Sang, the governor of Nandi. He is doing the second term. So wewe unajua ukimaliza hapa unitafuta nikupange mbele. Was you on your last term? Then we have Dr. Chris Kipto. He is a principal secretary at the National Treasury. He is the one who is looking after our coffers.
Excellency, I was his boss when I was here.
You also his boss? Now he is your boss. Then, of course, we have Pastor Dorcas Rigadi. The mother of my children. She is her head all the time, the boy child. Yeah? I hope the boy child is not in trouble here in Italy. If he is in trouble, I can leave her behind to sort it out. Is there anybody else? So, Is there now? We can get a few people to ski. If there's something you think, yes, my friend. Wapi microphone? Patia yule